Thank you, Dr. Sir, for a very interesting and very elaborate discussion on the issue. You just referred to the development of industry and exports to China and their liberalization in this later stage.
Pardon me?
And they liberalized the economy, both India and China, in 80s, 90s. But in the initial period of both India and Pakistan is a highly protective period. I mean, P.C. Mahalanobis, who gave 2-sector, 4-sector model, he, along with that, suggested that we should protect our nascent steel industry and engineering industry. Similarly, China, they have also followed a very highly restrictive protective walls till they matured in the sense that they established the industry. So liberalization has come as the second or third stage. In the initial period of their development is synonymous with highly protected industry.
I agree. There's no difficulty in accepting that proposition.
I am Professor Anil Srivastava, Editor-in-Chief from International News Bureau. First, I thank eCareer to organize this conference. It's very nice. As you explain, what could be the roadmap to increase more trade and relation between India and Pakistan? As you said, there's a bureaucratic hassle and political will.
Oh, their roadmaps are available. If you just read Professor Nisha Taneja's papers, which she has produced, I don't know how many of them, she has rolled out the roadmaps. The problem is that we have a zigzag road, and we have one step forward and 2 steps backward. So we are still jogging at the same spot. So it's not that we don't know the roadmap. Every study has shown the potential, as she said, from 0.5 times to 27 times. Forget about 27 times. Let me accept her numbers, which are 11 billion from 2.6. So even today as we speak, we can increase our trade 4 times. 4 times. Creating so many jobs. You are going to add 3 to 3.5 million young workers to your labor force. We're going to do 1 million or so every year. Now what best you can do but to the trade of goods and services. You're creating additional opportunities. The roadmaps are there, sir. There is no problem on the roadmaps. Dime a dozen you can get the roadmaps. But who is actually driving you on that road is important.
And Nisha's roadmaps are not zigzag.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Dr. It's always a delight to hear from you, and today is one that day. I would like to call upon your advice in one matter. In fact, we are importing chemicals from Pakistan. That was the first industrial produce, except cement, when we started importing this. There's been a very interesting, change in last 1 year because of, or 2 years, certain power shortages in Pakistan, and then the hike in tariff has dried up those exports. There's 1 less or 2 less or 3 less items in the basket, which is already very, very limited. And the interdependencies which were created here by our buyers on goods from Pakistan have already been lost or is being lost.
Yeah.
And would like to have your advice on that to the authorities in Pakistan, that what they should do to ensure, because we have a very limited, as of now we are working on a very limited scope where we are trying to I would say hustle through the things. And when these things are happening, they are, that's why when I referred that the curve has been flat in last 2 years, nothing much has moved in increasing the trade. And secondly, we have come across when we want to, I'm not referring only to imports from Pakistan. When we move towards importing 2 different products from Pakistan, one is molasses, which we have already started. We found out there is an export regulatory duty on that. We are still doing it, but we are still struggling to do it because of that 15% duty. which is killing that potential of that product to export to India. And secondly, when we wanted to do the ethanol, we are moving the shipments, but we found out that there is no policy of movement of that product from Vaga. And since last 4 months, we are struggling to find that route. You rightly said in your first part that the bureaucratic jargon we are trying to move. I would like to have your specific advice on that.
On the first one, you're absolutely right. I've been writing this for the last 5 years, that nobody deserves more allocation of the scarce gas and electricity resources than the exporters, because they are bringing in foreign exchange for you. When I was governor, my first priority was my exporters. I would do everything in order to please them and keep them going, because they are earning foreign exchange for me. They are the best clients I have. That's how I looked at it. So this is in public record, that exporters should be given the first priority, whenever you have a rationing, and the rationing you have to prioritize. And this is my advice, which I have been given for the last 5 years. Nobody listens, that's a different story, but this is the advice. On the molasses, Pakistan is trying to convert most of the bagasse for the purpose of energy generation. And they are also converting into distilleries for ethanol. So I think the regulatory duty has been motivated by diversion towards the value-added industrial ethanol and other uses of ethanol for fuel purposes. And I think for the bagasse, which will be used as a raw material for cogeneration.
Take one last question. Please be brief. One last question, Simrit, so you
Sir.
can interact with me.
I should ask or?
Yes. No.
Okay. Thanks for very nice lecture. I have two small questions. First, I mean, you have rightly said that bureaucracy is the biggest hurdle. In India, I know, through you, I know now that Pakistan. Why this realization within bureaucrat comes after retirement? Why within the period of service? Number one. Number two, as far as MFN is concerned, Pakistan gave China MFN status much before today, and 2012 trade data is $13 billion, if I am not wrong. And why it is so late in case of India? That's all.
Well, my whole speech was on this last point, that India should have been given the MFN long time ago, and there's still the time for it. And I must give credit to Mr. Zafar Mahmood, who is, unlike other bureaucrats, was very, very dynamic and trying to bring this MFN by December 31st, 2012. That was his goal, and he was very successful in phasing out, almost. Now we have 85% commodities which can come from India to Pakistan, and only 15% are on the negative list. It was the other way around, so it's a big change. For the reasons which I have said so many times, there were some political compulsions which did not lead to the MFN, but now they have changed the name of MFN and they are going to call it non-discriminatory market access. And I hope that when Mr. Anand Sharma visits Pakistan next time, they will be able to come to conclusion on this particular item. So I don't think this is going to be a major issue.
Thank you, Ishad Saab. I think we have to close because we are running late. So our lunch break is curtailed to 30 minutes. We'll come back in half an hour. So please, the lunch is served outside and we'll start in 30 minutes sharp. Thank you very much. Please give Ishad Saab a big hand.